Are you one of those people that have tried to quit smoking thousands of times, or it feels like it's been thousands of times? You have gone cold turkey like 30 times and never been able to quit, and you don't understand why it's so hard. This video is for you. In this video, we're going to answer that question from a scientific point of view. We're going to ask the question, does hypnosis work? Why does hypnosis work so well for quitting smoking? Okay, the answer to the question if hypnosis works is clearly in my title, but I don't want you to take my word for it. So let's hop right in. And when we get to the end, if you stay to the end of this video, I am going to tell you the only form of quit smoking that is actually more effective than hypnosis. But let's just jump right into the science first. Okay, so does hypnosis work, and how do we know? Okay, that's really the important question. How do we know? Does hypnosis work? Okay, well, the first question we have to ask is, how does the research work? How do we even begin to analyze whether or not hypnosis works? Okay, so here's how we do that. Okay, we look at the scientific literature. There is tons of scientific literature on the effectiveness of hypnosis as a quit smoking method, but there's also tons of research on all the other forms. There's really 9 ways to quit smoking that can be distilled down into 3 main areas. Dealing with your conscious mind, okay? Some methods deal with your unconscious mind, and others deal with it as if it was a drug or an addiction. So things like Chantix and nicotine replacement therapies. So it can be broken down into 3 basic areas that all the different methods deal with. Okay, we're not going to go into those in detail in this video though. Okay, so how does the research work? Here's how the research works. It looks at each one of those areas and it does a study of the effectiveness. In other words, after 6 months, how many of those people that did that particular method were still not smoking? And here's what we know. Based on those 3 groupings, okay, things like the apps, the book, and there's some very famous books on quitting smoking, and some people do manage to quit them, but they're all below placebo. And what we mean by placebo in science is, essentially, if I gave you a sugar pill and made you believe that it would get you to quit smoking, that you would quit. So it's basically just kind of the power of thinking, okay? So if it's below placebo, we know it doesn't really work at all, okay? Anything that is around placebo, it raises the question, is it that method that's working, or is it the placebo that's doing it, okay? Anything above placebo we know works. So that's how the science actually works. That's how the research works. That's how we do it. So when we break down the 9 known methods to quit smoking, okay, and we subcategorize them to that, here's what we know. We know that the things that deal with the conscious mind, like the apps, the book, the things that we think about, are less than placebo. They are the least successful. They're right there with the cold turkey at 6%. Okay, the things that are around placebo deal with smoking as if it's a physical addiction, with the exception of the drugs. So all the nicotine replacement therapies, they're all around placebo. So is it the nicotine replacement therapy, which is just weeding down your nicotine so that you quit, or so that it's easy to quit? That's the theory. It's around 12%. But if it's the same as placebo, was the nicotine therapy that got you to quit? Or was it that you believed it was going to work? We actually don't know which of the 2 it is. We're not able to discern, okay? The only things that are above it are 3 things. 2 of them we're going to talk about right now. One is the drugs. Drugs like Chantix, it has a 22% success rate versus 12 for placebo. That means we know it actually does something, okay? So it does help. Half the people that do the drug will go off of it within the first week due to the side effects, okay? The other one is hypnosis, which has a 60% success rate. And how do we know that the 60% success rate is real? Because what we do in science is we look at all of the scientific literature on hypnosis and quitting smoking, and we weed out of that anything that doesn't meet a rigorous scientific standard in terms of the testing and the modeling and the analysis, and we keep the core good research that has passed through the scientific community and stood the test of time. And we basically average that out, because you can find a single piece of research that will tell you almost anything. So we want to look at a body of research. What the body of research says is hypnosis works 60% of the time to get somebody to quit smoking for longer than 6 months. Okay, and most people for life. Okay, so we know that it is really the second most effective way to quit smoking. Okay, that's what the research actually says. And here's the little nuance I want to get across to you. Okay, what we know about hypnosis and why it works is because hypnosis deals with the unconscious mind. So hypnosis is really good at dealing with anything that is unconscious mind dominant, meaning that the major reason for the problem comes from your unconscious mind. And why is smoking unconscious mind dominant? Because smoking is primarily habit driven, not addiction. Not that addiction doesn't play a role, it does, but it's dominated by habit. Okay, that's why smoking is so easy to quit using hypnosis. That's why hypnosis has such a high success rate, because it is the best model and method for dealing with any issue that is unconscious mind dominant. Okay, now let's get to what I promised you. Okay, so why is it successful for quitting smoking? This is the answer to the question. I've already basically given it to you. Smoking is an unconscious mind issue. It is primarily driven from your unconscious mind. The average smoker smokes 25 cigarettes a day, takes 625 drags every day, Monday through Friday, through Sunday, actually, Monday through Sunday, right? If you're a smoker, you know this. Do you ever take a day off? No, you don't. You do it every day, 52 weeks a year. You've probably done it for a decade or 2 decades, maybe 3 decades. What else do you do that often? What else do you go 625 times? Hand to mouth, hand to mouth, hand to mouth, hand to mouth, hand to mouth. Right? Walking, eating, okay? It's a habit. It's dominated by our unconscious mind, okay? So the research says it's 60%, but it's actually not the best model. There's actually another model that is more successful than hypnosis, okay? I'm not saying don't do hypnosis. Please do. It absolutely works. It works really well, okay? And the reason why it works is because if you can change your unconscious mind, you can change your life. So what I'm saying here is just very simply that yes, hypnosis works. It's very successful for helping people quit smoking, because if you can change your unconscious mind, and smoking is a unconscious mind dominant issue, you can change your life. You can change your life for the better. The power in quitting smoking and how it will change and affect your life is immense. It affects our mental state, our psychology, our health. The average smoker loses 14 years of life. You can gain those back simply by quitting. Okay, so let me give you what I promised, which is what has a greater success rate than smoking? Something that I invented about 5 years ago, which has become very popular, called stacking. So what is stacking? So as a former smoker myself, I stumbled across the method of stacking. So I tried to quit smoking, and I tried everything, and I failed so many times, just like you. I tried the nicotine replacement therapy. I tried it all. I tried cold turkey, and I failed over and over and over again. I eventually found hypnosis, and it worked, and I became a hypnotist, and I dedicated my life to it. But through the process, like all the other hypnotists, I had a 60% success rate just like everyone else. And I realized that when it came to smoking, it's not just about a part of you. So hypnosis deals with your unconscious mind. It's not just about your unconscious mind. It's also about your conscious mind. It's also about how we create an identity of a smoker in our neurological system. So what I did was I thought, why am I just doing one method? So I created something called stacking. And what stacking simply means is taking hypnosis, neurolinguistic programming, which is for the conscious mind, and things like EFT, and stacking them together into a single program. Okay? So what I'm telling you is, if you really want to be successful, and I have a 95% success rate, okay? But there are other programs that utilize stacking, okay? If you really want to be successful and you are serious about quitting for life, you want to look for a program like mine that uses this method and model of stacking, because here's why. You're a whole person. You're not a piece of a person. You're not just your unconscious mind. You're not just your conscious mind, Okay? You also have a physical body. You're a whole person. So if you really want to quit smoking, you really want to be successful, and you want to be done with the filthy habit for the rest of your life, you have to use stacking. It's the best model and method. Okay? If you have any questions or any concerns or anything you want to ask me, you can call me. My phone number is right on my website, tedbradley.ca. You can direct message me on my Facebook. Okay? You can email me. Please, by all means, join my Facebook group. If this information is helpful, hit the subscribe button on this video. Subscribe to my channel. Ask me questions in the comment section. Please comment on the video. Ask me questions. I always respond. And subscribe and hit the notification button. Thank you so much.